What's up, guys? Welcome to our 21st short sermon. Today's short sermon is on Heroes of the Bible, Part 3, Elijah. So we're going to be going to 1 Kings chapter 18, verses 21 to 40. Then Elijah stood in front of them and said, "How much longer will you waver, hobbling between two options? If the Lord is God, follow him. If Baal is God, follow him." But the people were completely silent. Then Elijah said to them, "I am only the prophet of the Lord who is left. I am the only prophet of the Lord who is left, but Baal has 450 prophets. Now bring 2 bulls. The prophets of Baal may choose whichever one they wish, and cut it into pieces and lay it on wood, and make their altar, but without setting fire to it. I will prepare the other bull and lay it on wood on the altar, and not set fire to it. Then call on the name of your God, and I will call on the name of the Lord. The God who answers by setting fire to the wood is the true God." And all the people agreed. Then Elijah said to the prophet Baal, "You go first, for there are many of you. Choose one of your bulls and prepare it and call the name of your God, but do not set fire to the wood." So they prepared one of the bulls and placed it on the altar. They called to the name of Baal, and morning and noon came shouting, "O Baal, save us." But there was no reply of any kind. Then they danced, hobbling around on the altar they had made. About noontime, Elijah began mocking them. You have to shout louder," he scoffed, "for surely he is a god. Perhaps he is daydreaming, or is relieving himself, or maybe he is away on a trip, or is asleep, or needs to be awakened." So they shouted louder, following their normal customs, and they cut themselves with knives and sword until blood gushed out. Then they raved all afternoon until the time of the evening sacrifice, but there was no sound, no reply, no response. Then Elijah called to the people, "Come over here." They all crowded around him as he prepared the altar of the Lord he had been torn down. He took 12 stones, one to represent each of the tribes of Israel, and he used the stones to rebuild the altar in the name of the Lord. Then he dug a trench around the altar, large enough to hold about 3 gallons. He piled wood around the altar, cut the bull into pieces, and laid the pieces on the wood. Then he said, "Fill 4 large jars with water, and pour water over the offering and the wood." After they had done this, he said, "Do the same thing again." And when they were finished, he said, "Do it a third time." So they did as he said. The water ran around the altar and even filled in the trench. At the usual time for the offering, the evening sacrifice, Elijah the prophet walked up to the altar and prayed, "O God, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, prove today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant. Prove that I have done all of this at your command. O Lord, answer me. Answer me so that the people know who brought you, O Lord, our God, that you have brought them back to yourself." Immediately the fire of the Lord flashed down from heaven and burned up the young bull, the wood, the stone, and the dust, and it even licked up all the water in the trench. And when all the people saw it, they fell face down on the ground and cried, "The Lord, He is God. Yes, the Lord is God." Then Elijah commanded, "Seize all the prophets of Baal. Don't let a single one escape." So the people seized them, and Elijah took them down to Kishon Valley and killed them there. So this is a story about how Elijah the prophet, he showed everyone who his God was. He showed everyone who God was. See, the people of Israel, they're following all these false gods, Baal, and many more. So he challenged the people to a battle, right? And obviously, because their God, Baal, was just an image, it was just something they worshipped. It was not of actual God, and so it had no power behind it. But our God, Jireh, Yahweh, He has the power. He was the one that set fire to the altar Elijah made. God is a powerful God, and we serve a powerful King. So do not forget that.